I'm going to be sharing with you the book, The 4 Disciplines of Execution. This book is all about how to achieve your wildly important goals. This could help you both with your personal goals, professional goals, and I guarantee you that you will never look at goal setting the same because it turns out we've been doing it wrong this whole time. And at the end, I'm going to share with you an actual story of a laundry owner who heard this presentation and he used the lessons learned to increase his revenue on his laundry pickup and delivery service. So what is everybody doing wrong? Well, say like your goal is to lose weight. If I were to ask you, what is the number one thing that you should measure every single day to make sure you're achieving your goals, you'd probably say your weight. But it turns out your weight is what's called a lag measure. That's something that's already happened. No matter how much you weigh yourself, no matter how much you look at your weight, it's not going to change anything because that's what happens after the fact. The lead measure is what leads to your goal. What are the actions you could take that actually have an effect on your weight? And that would probably be your diet and exercise. And so a person who's counting their calories is going to be a lot more successful losing weight than somebody who's just measuring their weight. So if you're counting your actual calories, you're going to be making better decisions. You're probably going to say no to the 600 calories of French fries because you know how much exercise that would take to offset it. So companies oftentimes get so wrapped up in their lag measures. Let's look at our quarterly revenue results. Let's look at last month. And they're so focused on the dollar amounts, but no matter how much you focus on the dollar amounts, that's not really so productive because those are the end result. You really want to focus on the lead measures. That's the key. And you want to choose the right lead measures. The lead measures that actually help you achieve your goal. What leads to increasing your revenue? So one thing to keep in mind is the whirlwind. The whirlwind is real. That's the day-to-day activities. Those are the emergencies. Those are the fires you need to put out. The whirlwind probably takes up about 80% of your time. Some of you, it probably takes over 100% of your time. The whirlwind sometimes prevents you from thinking about the things you need to do to be successful. It sometimes stops you from focusing on the important things to help you grow your business or become a business owner instead of a business operator. A quote from the book is, if you ignore the urgent, it could kill you today. If you ignore the important, it could kill you tomorrow. The first step is to choose your wildly important goal. This could be anything. It could be, I want to increase my revenue. I want to increase the pounds of laundry that I'm processing. And in order to do it, to set the goal, you need to say what you're at now, where you want to be, and by when. For example, right now we're doing 10,000 pounds a month in wash and fold. I want to go to 20,000 pounds and I want to accomplish that by December or by the end of the year. If your goal is to increase your revenue, just focusing on your revenue doesn't do anything. You want to focus on the things that lead to more revenue. For example, I know if we rank better online, we're going to make more money. We're going to get more customers. But again, ranking better is a little bit of a lag measure itself, isn't it? So what are the things you need to do in order to rank better? Those are the things you should be measuring so you can focus your efforts on that. Say like your goal is you want to have better online reviews and you know that customers care about your machines working and being in order. The lag measure would be what your online reviews are or how many out of order signs you have. What would be the lead measure? It'd probably be preventative maintenance. And so you could create a system in place to make sure that your attendance and that you have a schedule and there are different things you could do to make sure those out of order situations don't happen. Same thing could go with vehicle maintenance. Say like your goal is to prevent vans from being out of order. Your goal is to lower your expenses, but you can't just say, I want to lower my expenses. You need to focus on what's going to lead to lower expenses, such as preventative maintenance. And one pro tip is you want to use leverage. When you're selecting your lead indicator or your lead measure, you don't just want to measure anything. You want to measure the most important thing that's going to predict your desired goal. For example, there's a national shoe company that found out when you measure the children's feet of the people who go into the store, the parents spend more money. And now why is that? It's because the parents oftentimes don't even know what size shoes their kids wear anymore because their feet grow so fast. They can't buy shoes if they don't know the size of their children's feet. So what this company did was they realized the more feet we measure of the kids, the more likely they are to spend more money. The lead measure is we're going to measure every kid's feet that come in here, or as often as possible. And then they let the parents know, hey, your kid wears a size 8. And now the parents were in a position to buy. And they solved a problem, and their revenues skyrocketed. Sometimes the lead measure is not so obvious. You want to spend some time to figure out what it is that's going to lead to your desired results, whether it's improving your Yelp reviews, whether it's improving your revenue. What is the number one predictive action? And at the end of the video, we'll talk to you about an actual laundry owner who figured out a very strong predictive action that ultimately is going to make him a lot of money. So once you figure out your lead measure or what your goals are, you need to get your team involved. And maybe they could help you come up with lead measures, right? They could let you know, hey, if we do this, this could help us do that. And so the more involvement you get, the more commitment you get. If you just tell your team, this is what we're doing, they may not be participating as much as if you get their buy-in by getting them to feel like part of the solution and having a say in it. And each department could have its own lead indicators. For example, in pickup and delivery, your drivers could have different things they need to focus on to improve customer satisfaction, to get repeat business than your attendant in store or the person behind the register. So everybody on your team or different departments may have their own measures that they need to measure. Another important aspect is you need a player scoreboard. You know, people play differently when you keep score. We get competitive. Some keys with having the scoreboard: it must be visible. It must be updated regularly, otherwise it gets stale. It must show both the lead and the lag measure. Because if you're doing a good job and you chose a good lead measure, over time, it should have an effect on whatever it is you're trying to change. So it's really important that your team sees that those two items are connected. For example, if your goal is to increase the number of online reviews on Google, the more often that your attendants ask somebody to leave a review, that would be the lead indicator, and the lag indicator would be when they actually leave a review. And one thing the book is not about is the whirlwind. So that's the day-to-day. Those are the fires that need to be put out. You're probably spending 80% of your time on the whirlwind. And the whirlwind is real, and it needs to be faced with and dealt with. And there's other books out there that help you with time management and all those things. This book is not about that. This book is solely about the wildly important goals. And one thing to keep in mind as well is one of the reasons why it's so important to keep track of the lead indicators and all those things is because the whirlwind is always more important, right? Because if your truck runs out of gas or you have an accident or something like that you got to take care of, it's always more important. So you need to make space. You need to make time for the wildly important goals. It needs to be hyper-focused because otherwise it just won't happen. This book is solely focused on the wildly important goals that can make a transformative difference to your life or to your business. And one of the keys to this book is cadence. To achieve your goals, you can't just say, hey, this is our goal now, and then forget about it, and then you get dust on it. What really makes this work, what completes the loop, is cadence. So cadence is meeting on a weekly basis to talk about what you've accomplished, what you're doing to achieve your goals, what are the lead indicators, are you doing those things? Because otherwise it's just dust in the wind. It doesn't happen. And by meeting regularly, it creates accountability, it provides continuity, and it creates that culture of change. Cadence transforms should into do. For example, one of our goals at Curbside Laundries is to help all of our clients be as successful as possible, help them grow their revenue. And so we've got customer success agents who reach out to people. And if I just said, hey, on your free time, go reach out and call people, it may not happen. What makes it happen is every week we go over which clients did you reach out to. And our success agents know that every week they're going to be reporting back, and we learn and we grow from that. Without those regular meetings, there wouldn't be accountability, continuity, and it wouldn't be a part of our culture. And it's also really important to have a dedicated meeting just to cadence, because otherwise it gets overshadowed by the emergencies or the fires that need to be put out. So it needs its own dedicated space. because that's probably one of the reasons why all those really important things that you know that really could help your business that you just don't get around to, because it just can't compete against the fires. So you need to create space for this to grow and flourish. So one of the people that I made this presentation to is Jonathan Teasley with Fresh and Clean Laundry. And he does over 100 pickup and deliveries per day. But guess what? He wants to grow his business even more. So one of his goals was, I want to make more money, right? But that's a little bit of a lag. So what's more focused? And then he realized, you know what? We're in the retention business. We make the most money off the customers who order again and again. So his goal is to increase customer retention. But again, that's a lag indicator. So we're on the phone together. We're talking about different reports in the Curbside Laundry software that could actually be lead indicators, which reports could actually help him. So one of the big ones is the text messaging and reaching out to all the customers. And the more text messages you send out, the more money you're going to make. You're going to get customers ordering again and again. But what else can you do? Well, one of our reports is called the Canceled Recurring Customers. And in this report, it shows all your customers who signed up for weekly or every other week service. And it also shows you how much money they spent since they've been a customer of yours. Some of them, it's $1,800. One of them is $14,000. And in our software, so this is actually real data from Supersets, our family's laundromat. And in our software, it even tells you if, even after they cancel their weekly or biweekly service, have they ordered since? And the first one for $1,800, yes, they have. But the next one over, actually two over, that person spent over $14,000 with us, and they haven't ordered since. And guess what? We haven't even called them. Isn't it worth picking up the phone? I mean, we've sent them the text messages, but if you want to make more money, this is a great report to use, to tap into, and make sure you provide the personal touch. We should be going through all of our canceled customers on a monthly basis, especially if they spent over $1,000 or $2,000 with us. If you had a customer come into your store and you knew they spent $14,000 and they just stopped coming in, it's worth a phone call. So once again, this book is all about your wildly important goals. If your goal is improving your customer retention, there's a million things you could be doing that could help make sure that those customers come back and again. So if you're using the Curbside Laundry software, make sure you're using the Canceled Recurring Customers report, because every month there could be thousands of dollars of business of people who just canceled service. And these are the most important customers you want to focus on because they're spending the most money, because they're ordering on a regular basis. So pick up the phone. Sometimes text messages is not enough. And our software does a great job with the text messages, but sometimes it's worth picking up the phone to bring them back into the fold. Speaking of text messages, this is one of our clients. They just posted on Facebook, ordered 10,000 finally. So they made 10,000 orders in the Curbside Laundry software. This took just over 3 years and grew from almost nothing. I think the text message marketing has been the single biggest driver of increased order frequency. I'm not in a metro area or even near one, so growth has been hard to come by. Looking forward to the continued growth. So if they got to 10,000 orders in just 3 years, that means they're doing about 300 orders per month. And you could see every year gets better than the last. So they're just heading towards continued growth. And why is that? Because they're focusing on increasing recurring orders through text messaging. It's so hard to get a new customer. And so once you get them, encouraging them to order again is probably your number one path to success. But at Curbside Laundries, we help our clients both get new customers and help them re-engage their existing customers. Because we're laundry owners, we're focused on growing our business, and we provide the same tools that we use at Supersuds with our clients. So I highly recommend reading the book, The 4 Disciplines of Execution, because just reading it and thinking about your business or your goals at the same time while you're reading it, you're going to come up with different ideas. You're going to be thinking about it and your own business while you're reading it, and it'll mean a lot more to you, just the process of spending time thinking about all these different topics. And don't forget to click like and subscribe. Let me know if this is something you want to see more of, or get back to doing the laundry interviews. Love to hear from you. If you'd like to learn more about Curbside Laundries, our wash and fold point of sale and pickup and delivery solution, the same one that Jonathan Teasley is using, go to curbsidelaundries.com.